For those who are already here, we're just going to be waiting for 3 more minutes for people who are joining. Again, for those who are here, we're just going to be waiting for 2 more minutes to wait for people who are still joining. Okay, I think we are going to get started. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for joining today's session at such a late time. Thank you so much for your contribution. My name is Will. I'm the project manager of this framework, and today's meeting will be leading by me and then Dennis, our co-chair and the leader of this framework. So before we start today's agenda, I'm sending a link of our resources doc to the chat. So if everyone can take a minute to open the link, it'll be great. We're gonna go through some logistics in the doc. I'm also going to share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
So yeah, so before we get started, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, go through some logistics. So first off, I'll kick off session preparation before the framework. If you haven't already, please check out our recording. First of all, please check out our first framework version 1.0 right here, the link. And then after that, please check out our recording of our kickoff session. And we also summarize some of the feedback from the kickoff session right here. Oh my God, this Zoom thing is blocking my screen. So here we have all the feedback that we organized. So feel free to check it out as well. And then if you are willing to contribute, please sign the code of conduct and consent form right here in order to contribute. And if you haven't done so already, please indicate your interest in this master Excel sheet. So if you click on the link, it will be a sheet like this. And then, oh my God. And then if you go to this particular tab, we will have different functions and different controls. And then as these two, Peter and Maria says, here you can indicate your interest in next to specific functions, as well as you can also indicate your interest next to specific controls. Yeah, so that's basically the master framework Excel sheet. And then this is a master PDF document where it's just a more, no, not this document, sorry. I'm gonna click on this, which is just a more detailed information and summary of each functions and control items. So you can also comment your interest here if you wish, but we really recommend you to comment your interest right here in the Excel sheet so that we have a clear sense of who are contributing to each function, each control items. So yeah, so also please subscribe to our calendar, Google Calendar events. We're not going to be posting and emailing you guys, spamming you guys about every event. We're just going to post the information descriptions in this Google Calendar. So please subscribe to keep updated. And for the most updated communication, please, if you have Signal, please join the Signal group chat to keep communication, talk to our fellow contributors. Yeah, and we also put together a knowledge base and a general outline for today. So for a knowledge base, it's right here. So please put anything that you think is will be helpful for this framework, any resources, articles, research. Right here, someone has already put something here. So feel free to put anything right here in the knowledge base. We'll be organizing this knowledge base. And finally, we have today's outline. So if you can take a minute to click on the outline link here in this resource doc, and I'll let Dennis take over the agenda for today.
Thanks, Will. So as Will described, we have the resources available to you in case you are just joining us with in regards to this endeavor. We had a kickoff meeting. A lot of people contributed already in terms of communicating what sections they're interested in. We have a deadline of Friday. Is that right, Will? Friday evening?
Yes.
For essentially telling us which of the sections you'd be interested in contributing to. And right now it's comment only. Don't worry if you can't write to the file, you can comment on the file. And so what we're doing is we're aggregating folks' emails to make sure that we understand who's interested in what sections, whether it's content that you want to be able to contribute to that section, or even just content review. We're totally open to that. We know there are quite a few people across a lot of different fields that are interested in contributing in different ways, and we're flexible in that way. We know that this is going to be a very large team effort. So the only thing I say is that if you could take a look, if you haven't already, at the framework version 1 spreadsheet, the master spreadsheet, please do so before the end of the day tomorrow, just so that we know whether you're interested in a particular section or not. So as Will said, I will be going down the general outline and week 1 agenda for today's meeting. It's going to be pretty rapid fire. We're hoping not to use up too much of your time. So this is going to be a lot of communication out. If you have questions or comments about it, what we'd like to do is aggregate that via email or through the chat channel that we have open. And just please feel free to reach out. But I'm going to go pretty quickly just so that we don't go beyond the 30 minutes that we said we'd be using of your time. So the first thing on the agenda, I'll share my screen so that you can see what I'm about to start talking about. Okay, so can everybody see the spreadsheet? Okay, great. So the first thing on the agenda, some of the feedback that we got from folks already looking at that spreadsheet and making sure that we understood what the different pertinent sections of controls are, were items to be deleted. So there were actually duplicates in CX20 and CX21. And That just means that people took the time really to go through the document and see, hey, listen, you've got some dupes here. You may want to circle back through and just make sure that you get rid of them. So already we've had some pretty awesome contributions in that, in just some eagle-eyed folks looking through the document and making sure that they were keeping us to a format that made sense, and we just happen to have some duplicates there. The duplicates were our CX20 was clearly inform individuals, organizations on legal risks resulting from the collection of data, and 21 was establish mechanisms in place to learn and communicate to individuals and organizations at any time the XR or spatial computing environment has been altered from its original state. They were acknowledged earlier in the document, and we can take them out. So Kavya has marked this master document for modification, and that will eventually end up in the log file as well for its change. The next thing on the agenda were safety controls to be added. There was commentary on the safety controls. I'm just going to read through the feedback that we got and things that we've been looking at in terms of our roadmap and items that we wanted to add to version 1.1, which is what we're working on right now, which include geolocation and geoprivacy being added to this document, standardized semiotic labels for XR, adoption and enforcement of the framework, data protection impact assessment for spatial computing in XR, analysis of dark patterns and its impacts on trust in spatial computing in XR data classification framework, continuing the effort that we started. This is just an update to the framework components that we started in 2018. Technical standards for informed consent, human readable labeling schema for adoption, and age-appropriate design. So those are all things that are either informed by you all providing feedback or by the roadmap that we had established when we were creating the first version of the framework. Again, don't worry if, I'm going through this pretty quickly. We have it documented. If you go to the resources document, it's there under, where do we have it? We have it under agenda somewhere. Yeah, it's there. If not, look at the invite. The invite actually also has the agenda for today.
It's under the, sorry to interrupt. It's just under the general outline.
General outline.
If you go to general outline, there's other suggestions and feedbacks on the first page, and if you click on it, a lot of people are already putting their suggestions right here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Thank you, Will. So the next thing on the agenda is approaches that need to be incorporated. This is what we're waiting on feedback for. We don't really have anything here for this particular section just yet. Areas and technologies, intersection that are currently missing. So we've gotten some feedback here, particularly on 5G, 6G and satellite internet, signals processing for novel privacy implications, drones and eVTOL, robotics and cobots, BCI, brain-computer interface, full body and haptics, multisensory input and output, blockchain, polymorphic encryption came up during the last meeting as a key item to incorporate into the new framework or into the updated framework, and differential privacy. Again, these suggestions came from you all, and we want to express that this is very much a collaborative effort. We're working with different universities, different organizations, different companies, with the ultimate goal of the version 1.1 version of the framework being a set of recommendations that can be used by countries around the world for their privacy standards as far as XR is concerned. And then other suggestions and feedback, again in the document, feedback received via other channels, whether they called us, emailed us, or put it into the signal. We've captured that. Our goal here is to really address every piece of feedback that we get from the group. We know that that's going to be quite a bit of feedback, but that's why we've kind of put 3 months ahead of us in order to be able to aggregate and incorporate those into the framework. I don't necessarily have to go through every one of these. It's quite a long list, But as you can see in the general outline, we have aggregated a ton of this data, which was input from that came in between the kickoff meeting and today. Okay. Okay. So groups, list, functional areas, and functional. Okay. So one of the things that's really important for us during all of this is really being able to start to think about assigning group leaders for each of the functional areas. So we have a Google form that we've created, and this Google form is really about your expertise and your interests. So if there is a concept here, or if you've got a concept for the sections that you want to help lead or provide input for after you've commented on the section. So if you would like to actually lead one of the subsection, content development efforts or reviews, we're definitely interested in hearing from you. We know this is going to be a lot of work in front of us. So the link is again in the general outline document. I think it'd probably be a good idea for us to include that here in the chat. Will, would you mind just adding that to the chat here in Zoom? Awesome, thanks so much. So this is pretty straightforward. This is just your email address, so we know who you are, we know where you're coming from. What is your main area of expertise? And just being specific around what it is that your background is in and why you'd like to lead that particular section. And then here are the different sections that we are interested in receiving contributions to or for, and then whether you'd like to be a lead role for the above specified area. And so that is just so that we have an idea of who the content leaders and review leaders will be for the different sections. Okay. So just to kind of give you an update as well, we are currently working with the University of Michigan and reaching out to a few other universities regarding this framework as well. And on that front, there are research teams that are already at work developing content for the different sections of the framework. So it's not like it will just be these calls that produce input. There are actually research teams that we are communicating with, cutting edge companies and research teams that are already working on inputs. What we'll have to do is really on our side, make sure that logistically we're not stepping on each other's toes, and we know when things are ready for review and when the windows for input are. And so we're working on that right now. For instance, we've gotten some feedback on the Signal channel that there may be interest in access to our Slack channel. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to inundate you all with messages or notifications. We want you to be able to contribute where you can contribute and have it be as low impact as possible, because we know there are a ton of really busy professionals trying to contribute to this framework. But if there is an interest for Slack, just let us know. Right now we're using the Signal channel. If you're not on it yet, again, the resources document has the information you'll need to get onto the Signal channel so that you can actually see the conversation that's already been occurring over there. So right now our goal, if there's like a primary set of goals, the two things that we really want to capture are that you've commented on the sections that you're interested in, and you have filled out the Google form so that we can start to capture your interest in regards to content leadership. So that's more or less the meeting. Again, we're a little bit under time here, so I think it's better than going over. If you have questions, or if you have concerns, or if you have insight that you don't think we've captured just yet in any of these documents, please reach out to us. Here in the resources document, I think it was here, there's this any questions section. You can email all three of us. What we're doing, again, is we're trying to aggregate these documents so that we have a single basically point, the single point that we can find all this information from, because we maxed out at about 100 folks for the last Zoom call, for the kickoff call, with about 100 others that were waiting. What we did is we've now posted those videos onto YouTube so that if you need to get caught up or if you need a review of that content, it's there available for you. If I missed anything, or if you feel like maybe watching this again would be useful, we'll be posting this on YouTube as well. Kavya's version of this meeting this morning for the European Union crowd is also available. So you'll have both videos if you need to watch them again. And like I said, we try to keep them as concise as possible so that we're not using a ton of your time. Will, is there anything that I missed?
I think that's it for today.
Okay, awesome.
Could you repeat what we should do if we have questions? I have a couple of questions about just like the logistics.
Sure.
But also I'm from a research group in UC San Diego,
Okay.
UCSD. And I'd like to connect you with a couple of other groups working on similar things, but I'm not sure what the best way to do it. Like, I'm not sure if the contributor aspect is the best way to go about that. So I have a couple of, it would be nice if we can connect and see how that could work.
Thanks, Jenna. I really appreciate that. So for real-time feedback, you can use the Signal channel. Basically, we're able to respond as quickly as any one of us can respond. If you want to send us an email, there's that any questions section, and it's got Kavya's email address, Will's email address, and mine. Feel free to drop an email to all three addresses. We'll all get it, and we'll be able to respond back to you as fast as any of us can respond.
Okay, awesome. And can I actually share maybe not the Excel sheet, but under resources, there was like the PDF with what currently exists. Can I share that with other people in the university?
So actually, if you want them to comment on it, sure. The hope here is that if there are people that you want contributing to a particular section, what we'd like to do is aggregate that by Friday evening. If it's going to go through you and they're part of your organization, that's okay, because we can capture that you've commented on it. But yeah, you can definitely share. Right now, our hope is to get as many contributors as possible involved with this framework.
I've already put down my interest. It was just so I have something to that can communicate what this is about to others.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Dennis, I have a question as well. What is the correlation between the subgroup division and group leaders form and the Excel spreadsheet? Because I see the area of the form, please select the areas you will specifically contribute to. And I was trying to see where, what focus area I signed up for, and if that's
if there's a correlation. Yeah, well, are you able to speak to that a bit? The sections, like the taxonomy, did we correlate them specifically to the functions? Is that the way we did it? Was it the 14 function, or the functions?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't. I was replying to the other person in the chat, so I didn't really pay attention to her question.
Yeah, no problem. So I believe what Ryan's asking is where it says please select the areas that you will specifically contribute to in the Google form.
Yes.
Are those correlated to the function areas within the document, or were they different?
So we have different control items in different functions, right? We have 14 functions in total. And then if you are specifically wanting to control a specific item, control item, being ASAM1, ASM2, ASM3, yada yada, you can comment your name and email address next to the control items, but you are just generally want to contribute to a function, being ASAM, assessment and mapping, or risk assessment, this general function. You can also just comment your name and email address next to the function area that you are willing to contribute.
And then the Google form itself, though, that list that is taxonomy, compliance, framework, alignment, accessibility, and XR. Do you know? Sorry, Ryan, I didn't create this particular section of the form.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to understand so I fill it out right.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Juan.
we're keeping every contributor's email address and name in the Excel sheet, master sheet, and then the form is just for us to confirm again, and then make sure everything is in order and organized.
Okay.
Yeah, if we didn't answer that question fully, please reach out. Just email us if there was a gap there, and we'll try to make sure that we circle back and are able to inform everybody of the right answer for your question.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that's that. Again, please reach out to us. What we're doing is really we're booting up this initiative. It's going to take a little bit of time just to make sure that we've corralled everybody into sections that they want to be responsible for and want to be contributing to. If there are any questions at any given time, again, the Signal group is a really good way to reach us, and the emails we'll be responding to. And then, as you saw, as Will shared, we are aggregating all of it, just like this recording is going to be available to everybody. The inputs that you give us are being aggregated as well, and they're quite long documents that we're just kind of having to go through right now. Eventually, what we hope is that we'll be able to kind of compartmentalize them and have team leads assess what sections they belong to, those inputs and insights. Cool. Well, I'll give you back your 4 minutes. Thank you so much for your time. It's super, super, super appreciated. We know, again, that this is going to be a massive team effort to get this done, with the ultimate goal to pass this along to government agencies around the world to help inform them around privacy standards in regards to XR. Thank you.